You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Revenge After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Revenge After Show.
Welcome, everybody. Bing is for doing. We're here doing Revenge, the season finale, Truth, Part 1 and 2. Welcome, everybody. I am your host, Phil Svitek, joined alongside Anna Koppel. Hello.
Hey, Phil.
And Roxy Striar.
Hello.
And no, we do not have Catherine Tulich tonight, but replacing Catherine, you guys know him from the show as Jack.
Nick Wechsler.
Welcome, Nick Wechsler. How are you? Thank you for joining us on the finale. It was randomly came about. You saw Maria Menounos at the Grove, right?
Yeah.
And then this was Friday, and she said, "Come down to AFTERBUZZ," and here you are.
You make it sound really random. I had I have a publicist, and she.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and I ran into her.
I didn't know the full story. Maria, I just got a text from Maria. Hey.
But she did kind of rope me in. That sounds more negative than it was. I was happy to do it.
So yeah, they forced you. You didn't want to come here at all, and
yeah. She humiliated me with my poor dodgeball skills, and I had to do it. It was the only way to redeem myself.
Is that what you guys were doing? You guys were playing dodgeball?
Yeah. Amazingly. Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk, obviously, about Revenge, and we'll interview Nick towards the latter half. But Nick's going to join us for the discussion on tonight's episode.
Woo, 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 woo.
There was what I loved about tonight's episode, we got 2 hours, or whatever it was, with the commercials. It felt like a really good movie.
Yeah.
It really did. An action movie.
I actually can't think about where Part 1 ended and Part 2 started. When I was looking at my notes and I was trying to go through it, it does seem like a 2-hour-long.
Yeah, I mean, technically the split was where Emily is searching for Jack, once the explosion happens, and that's where we kind of leave off. But, I mean, it just kept going through.
Yeah, and it's kind of a shame that it didn't actually split there. Mm-hmm. Because it would be nice to make the audience wonder for a lot longer, make them wait a week to find out whether or not Jack had.
Here's my rebuttal to that. I felt like it should have been 3 hours. What happened?
Yeah, I have so many questions. I can't believe that we have to wait.
I have 0 answers.
Well, that might not be true, but we'll see.
I bet you guys filmed hour 3 and it just didn't air yet. Next week. That's the joke on everybody.
Looking at everybody's face when you see what actually happens, though, in the very end, that's how you know there should be an hour 3, because how are we going to wait until September?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to.
Yeah. You should kill yourself.
You know what? That's what I might do.
That's a good strategy. And by the way, as we discussed tonight's episode, out of all nights, I want to preface this. We literally just watched the episode, and we're coming in here with our first reaction. So imagine the feeling that you had as you watched this episode. It's you're coming off a high, and so that's what we're going to be doing. And so it's going to be a little bit difficult talking about this episode because it's all just kind of emotion-driven right now.
So I was really freaking. I was having anxiety.
I know.
She was.
Yeah.
I was there, and she was. There was audible anxiety.
Well,
I mean, at some point I looked at him and was like, "Please tell me that Jack doesn't die. Please tell me that." So.
And I tried to hang my head and make it seem like.
Maybe.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't going to tell me.
Well, that was. So I mean, this is more fair questions to the girls, but you can answer too, Nick. Who did you think? Because we've been predicting that it's going to be either Jack dies or Aiden dies, and obviously that didn't happen. But we knew that there was going to be a big death in the season finale. Did you? I mean, no one could have predicted Declan. I don't think.
Once you saw that Declan died, I was like, of course it was Declan. It couldn't have been anybody else, except for the fact that the whole time you guys know I thought it was Aiden. But once Takeda died, once Takeda died, I knew it wasn't Aiden anymore. Obviously, if Aiden was going to die, that's how he would have died. So who else could have really been? Obviously, it's not going to be Jack. They've been setting Jack and Emily up from day one.
But it could have been Dan.
I don't think so. I don't think.
It could have been.
It could have been Dan.
No.
Daniel.
Oh, right.
I don't think so, because I
Damn.
didn't think that.
Nobody ever calls him that.
I know.
He does all the time.
We're on a nickname, first name basis
Yeah.
here at
They're
AfterBuzz.
bros. Yeah.
No, but I didn't think that the Graysons were going to take a hit this early, so I definitely didn't think it was going to be. I mean, maybe Charlotte, but other than that, Declan was really the only person left, especially with this whole baby situation going on. Adds a whole new layer of drama.
I know. What about you, Anna?
Well, I will say this. A couple of things about Declan's death. First of all, we have been playing with, I'm sure the whole audience has been playing with the question, who does Emily belong with really? And I've kind of been on the fence, I'm not really sure, but when there was a question that Jack might be dead, I was like, oh, Jack can't be dead, he doesn't know all the answers yet. And I really felt like, yeah, like they belong together. So his life being at risk answered my question.
Well, let me ask you, Nick. Let me ask you this: you've been involved in two of the biggest deaths of this series. You know, how does it? And I mean, obviously they've affected Emily, but how do when you kind of got the news, or how did even the news kind of come about of like, hey, Amanda's gonna die, or Declan's gonna die? You know, when did you kind of first know?
When I first heard about it, Mike Kelly told me in, I think it was about Amanda. He told me after a table read or something, and then he told me. I think I guessed after a table read that Declan, and he kind of confirmed it in a vague way. So yeah, like, because we knew a death was coming, basically. So I was like, is it gonna be him? Because it's interesting too. You know, you're commenting on like how they obscured who it was gonna be, and I'm kind of I'm impressed that we don't. The audience doesn't see it coming always, like, because as someone who's in on it, it always seems like they're gonna know. They have to know.
You feel like it's obvious.
Yeah, I feel like it must be obvious. I mean, even just in terms of like sometimes the amount of dialogue someone has on it or whatever, like. But I guess that doesn't always dictate the thing.
Right.
But
Well, Nick, it's really interesting that you're saying that, because something that we've talked a lot about here is that how the audience somehow dictates what happens on Revenge, that they respond a lot to what the audience says. And first of all, is that true? Is that...
Well, I mean, maybe so. I don't know. I actually think that, look, I'm sure that the audience has something to do with certain, you know, it's like, oh, these are our strengths. Let's play to our strengths. You know, if our strength is this actor, let's give them more scenes or something if the audience is responding. But I think it's largely that they love these actors. They love, you know, they like. Barry is so good that he just earned sticking around. He wasn't supposed to be around that long.
Right. So then, I guess my question is, did the audience not love the Declan character?
I don't actually know. I haven't been keeping up with any of that. I don't look anything up because I don't want to know.
Well, I can say as an audience member, I love the Declan character, and I'm really upset about it because you guys know I used to host Gossip Girl here too, and now I feel like any show I watch, she's gonna come on, and then he's gonna be gone. And, no, I'm serious.
Because he's the
I'm
Black
like a
Angel of
jinx.
Death. I know.
It's really sad for me. No, I
He's
think it's
not.
a big.
You're not, Connor. I love you, and like actually, it breaks our hearts that he's gone. Like he's one of my great friends, and yeah, it's like it gives us this great episodic opportunity, this like for drama, and you know, it is great cause for her to tell me the truth, but there's a part of me that's like, God, it's not worth it losing him.
Sometimes I feel like when characters leave on the show, they're also leaving your actual life. So he was leaving your life in the show and your actual life, not forever, but you know.
I
in
mean,
terms of,
we're gonna see. I'm gonna ask him if he wants to hang later tonight. So I'll see him soon.
Good, I'm glad. But do you feel like those emotions come into play when you are acting? You feel like you're actually gonna miss him, so then you're upset about it. Then the tears come more easily, or whatever it is.
Yeah, you know, he's always said that he's had a hard time getting getting there emotionally for things. I hope I'm not like outing him, with something that's kind of, I don't know. Yeah, I hope I'm not embarrassing him. But basically, like I'll admit, I've had that problem a lot too. But he got there more for this than I've ever seen him.
Because it was the end?
I think so. I think he, I think he was like playing into it that he knew it was, like he's not going to be here on a regular basis. He's not going to be working with his buddies.
And I get that because I've not been a fan of Declan. Sorry to your buddy, but this episode I was like, man, I really like him. He's coming around, I'm liking this guy. So I was definitely sadder in this episode that he died, but overall, not so sad to lose Declan.
Well, that's what happens with death, though. Like everybody, I mean, in real life too. Like everybody starts saying all the positive crap about people, and I mean, I'm not saying this is crap. Like I think you start. I think Whitesnake said it best. I don't know if it was Whitesnake, but you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yeah,
I think that his character was not as big of a catalyst for some of the big moments. So maybe when you say you didn't like him as much, it's because there wasn't as much drama around him as there were some of the other characters. Exhibit A, sitting to my left.
I think that's a great point.
Plus, for me, the death. Obviously it affected Emily, but in terms of you, the line you said to Victoria in tonight's episode of like, now you have to break the news to Charlotte.
Yeah.
That was so piercing, and as a plot device, that's what Declan's death did for me. Finally, now it just punctures Victoria all the more, and it's Jack who delivers that blow. Which Jack's been this season trying to do those certain things. But, unfortunately, Jack, or for you, Nick, I felt Jack was kind of, let's say, 5 steps behind the Conrads. So
yeah.
The Conrads. Is that what we're calling them now? They kind of are the Conrads in this episode.
Well, now they're all behind Conrad.
I think it's so interesting. The last show that we did, we talked about who is more evil, Victoria or Conrad, and we had a debate about that.
How do you view it?
Before tonight's episode, it was a real toss-up. I always went that Victoria was less evil, only because she had a love for her children that Conrad didn't share. But then, ironically, in tonight's episode, it's kind of reversed.
No, I had the exact opposite. I always thought that it was Victoria that was more evil, but then in this past thing, Conrad, I couldn't find redeeming qualities. It was tough.
I think they both love their kids and are doing what they're doing out of love and wanting to protect, but they're just doing awful things. But I think Victoria has shown signs of conscience more than he has, so I think he's been, and this episode sort of revealed him to be more of the mastermind behind. I think it's kind of been that way all along, but sort of definitively that he's the mastermind behind a lot of.
Let me ask you this:
stuff.
In season 1, you interacted mainly with Emily, Nolan, obviously Declan, and every now and then perhaps some of the other characters. But in this season, you really got to interact with everybody, and and so what was that shift like for you, just as an actor, to work with all?
It was great. It was interesting because the first season, I was basically working on one set, and it was just a revolving door of, whoever's on the other side of the bar, and so they would basically shoot most of my scenes in a matter of, I think like almost all of my scenes in a matter of 2 or 3 days, at the Stowaway.
For each episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
And which could actually be difficult sometimes. It presented a problem for me because I have a hard time memorizing, and so to have to know all of my stuff for the entire episode in a few days was difficult. But it's my job, and I'm happy to do it. It was just I just wanted to be able to give them the best work I could, and I struggled with that. But this season was broken up a lot more. I got to work with, and so I was excited for a couple of reasons, because I didn't have to learn all of my dialogue, for just and just cram it into a couple days. But I also got to work with all these, like I never got to work with Henry.
Mm-hmm.
He's so good. He's so good. And I know I only had like 1 or 2 scenes with Victoria in season 1. I think it was literally only 2, maybe 3 actually. Now that I think about it, it was the time she came to the bar looking for Declan. I think it was just this just a few lines or something, and then when I go to the Graysons and blow them up because
because Declan's having dinner there.
Yeah, and then the beach party with what's his name?
Daniel.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
the friend.
You mean Dan?
No.
Our friend Danny?
What's his name? It begins with a T.
Tyler.
Oh, the crazy one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tyler.
Was this your first solo scene with Madeline Stowe?
I mean, yes.
We're gonna hold you to it, whatever you say. So
Well, no, I
be
mean,
careful.
last episode I had one with her at the end too, right with the black, like right before the blackout.
Right.
I mean, so but yes, like this. I can't remember.
I can't either, so that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah. And it's
It's okay.
ask him.
Yeah.
He knows better
Me,
than I do.
I don't know. It'd be tough. But let's kind of bring it back to tonight's episode, and going off of the events of Takeda, and then obviously that's a jumping off point for Emily and Nolan and their kind of mission to find Takeda.
I just have never seen Emily be so wrong about something. Usually her gut instinct tells her exactly where to go, and she's so sure when she sees this picture in Takeda's infinity box that that's his killer. And she's just so wrong. I mean, I don't think we've ever seen that before.
But here's the thing. I feel like she's been wrong so many times, and every time we learn a new piece of information, it leads us to another part of the trail or the part of the journey, and it's like, oh, everything shifts because we found this one clue. I feel that happens a lot.
When do you feel? I've just never seen her be so certain about everything. Everything she
Okay,
says.
look at the last season's finale of like, oh my God, the tape with the mother. That led us in a direction. Like everything leads us in certain directions. And then Nolan kind of recaps. Okay, what are we really going after?
A recapper.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I just feel like usually when she has a gut instinct, she goes with it and everybody's like, yes, absolutely. But she was the one being tricked this time, and the audience was obviously in on it. The fact that Aiden was the one who killed Takeda.
Well, a couple of things. First, I don't know that I would call anything a gut instinct. I would say that Takeda trained her to think a certain way and to act a certain way. And
I'm like,
and it involves not being emotional. In this instance, she was extremely emotional because she just saw that Takeda had been killed. So now things are all over the place because we learned that Takeda has his own revenge agenda. How do you say that word?
Revenge agenda.
Revenge agenda.
And she can't act when she's emotional like that because she is crazy.
If you think about it, in some sense, the entire thing is a lie now because, as we learned, she was just a soldier in Takeda's war. And so I'm saying maybe she's missed things before, little things somewhere, but this has been going on for years.
So in the Aiden, as Aiden's trying to convince Emily, just let this be. I mean, how do you guys feel about this now that is it worth revenge, or is a different route better at this point?
What's the different route? You mean leaving
Love.
with Aiden?
As they said, it's either revenge or love. At this, and obviously, eventually it leads Emily to Jack, and that whole reveal. Has she chosen love again, as she did in, I guess, perhaps season 1?
I don't know. I think, I'm a lover of love. So I do think that there is some sense of me that wants to say, you know what, you should just leave, get out of there, don't look for revenge. When you spend so much of your life, so much of it is dedicated towards one cause, walking away, it doesn't seem reasonable to expect somebody to be able to do that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you don't have much of a show without the revenge. Obviously, like, you know, I think the idea is you're supposed to always want her to walk away.
Yeah.
But she's compelled, like you're saying. She's devoted so much of her life to it, and it's kind of, it's like all she has. There's a great line in Rabbit Hole that
I love that play.
It's when I only know the movie. So Nicole Kidman's character is talking to her mother, and they're facing the boxes of her child's stuff, her dead child's stuff, in the basement, and she just turns to her mom, and it's like she, you know, finally is vulnerable with her mom because she's been snapping at her the whole time, and she's like, "Does it ever go away?" And she says, "No, but it gets to where you can bear it. You know, you carry it around with you like a brick in your pocket, and every now and then you reach in for something else, and you go, oh yeah, that. But the key, for me, the key part of the line is is the end. She says, it's all you have left of your son. And the pain, the heartbreak is sort of, it's like, it's all you have left in tribute to this person who died. And so sort of in tribute to her father, well, definitely in tribute to her father, she's seeking this revenge.
But you know, even Nolan reminds her tonight that, you know, honor your father by not doing revenge.
Right.
He didn't want that.
Yeah, he didn't. He never wanted it.
Now that, you know, I mean, Emily and Jack are on the same page in terms of, you know, for Jack, what does he hope to find by shooting Conrad? What is in Jack's revenge? What is the ultimate goal?
I mean, it would have ruined his life. I mean, but he was just willing to do it. It was like, I know this is gonna, because there's no way they wouldn't all turn and find, you know, see that guy up there. So he knew going in, this is it. Like, my life's over. But I can't. He's gonna get away with it. I can't live with that.
Mm-hmm.
Who's watching Carl then?
That's
the grandma. Which, yeah, it's
Victoria?
silly. No, it's he has a line about a grandmother that we've never heard of. So yeah, it's just a way to explain why the baby is not anywhere to be found.
Yeah.
Because you know, normally it was like Amanda or Declan taking care of the kid, and they were all dead. So we needed a way to sort of be like, yeah, the baby's taken care of, don't worry about it. So there's a little line, just to, you know, Jack says something to in the scene when he comes in and is talking to Victoria. I think it's like at the beginning of part one of this two-parter, and he's comes in from outside, and he's like, yeah, the whole place is blacked out, and there's just a couple boats out there with their lights on, blah blah blah, and he sits into his seat and says something about, like, thank God that, you know, Carl's grandmother's taking care of him.
Works for me. I don't care. I'll let it slide. But I think it's important what you're talking about, and with the whole rabbit hole reference and everything you're saying, knowing that there's something bigger than yourself, like putting yourself last. I think obviously it'd be easiest for Emily to just say, you know what, screw all this revenge stuff. I want to be in love, and I'm going to follow my heart and just be happy. But there's something bigger than happiness. There's something more to life, and something that you need to fulfill. There's some people who just want to be happy, and that's probably the better way to live. But then there are some people who want to succeed, and whatever that means to them. And for her, success is not falling in love, having babies, growing old. That's not succeeding.
I think that she's had her heart so broken by this, you know, by the stealing of her childhood, the loss of her father, that, you know, and having that lead to her having her father so wrong for so long, that it's like she believes the thing that's standing in the way of her being happy is, I mean, it's, you know, it's what Jack was about to do. It's like, I can't live with him getting away with this. yeah, I think she just feels like, no, I'll be happy. I'll rest when he's dead, you know, or maybe not dead, but like I'll rest when he pays.
I wonder if she actually does think she'll be happy, because there is a line tonight where somebody asks her, it was about Aiden, and they say, what are you going to do after he leaves, or what's going to happen then? And she's like, I can't even think about that now. And I feel like that's kind of her thought process for this whole thing. Like, she doesn't know what's going to happen next. Say she takes down the Graysons, then what? I don't think she has any idea then what. But she can't even think that far, because all she can think about is revenge, attack, got to bring him down. So when you don't see your end game, it's hard.
Yeah, well, that's what revenge does. Like that, you know, you never, because any story about, and I've said this a number of times, but any story about revenge is ultimately a story about redemption, because it can't end up well. It can never. You're not gonna make a story about how revenge feels good. It's gonna be like there's gonna be some reward in it, but you have to become the monster to kill the monster, you know, and so yeah, I don't know. I think that's the kind of key. You never have a plan beyond it. It's like all I know is I need to get there, and that's the thing that's keeping me from moving on. And then once you do it, it's like I don't actually know what I'm going to do after this.
There was a line this evening. There are two paths to revenge. One is failure. The other will set you free at your journey's end.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, the tough part for me is I think. You agreeing, Roxy?
I was literally just about to say that, and you took the words right out of my mouth. So I was.
Can scratch that, huh?
Yeah. Check. Okay, moving on.
Well, for me, you know. Well, did we just lose me?
No, you're good.
No, sorry, my headphones keep going out. Marissa's messing with me on the boards today. She's trying
Marissa,
to test
you
things.
Jokester.
We have a blackout here in the studio, just like in New York. What I was gonna say was, in terms of. But I think it's interesting that, you know, with this, Aiden's at least presenting another option besides just failure and success. And, you know, because he was the one who killed Takeda, I think she's not going to listen to him, among many other reasons. But I don't know. I like, at the very least, what comes out of it for me is I like the debate, you know, of where, you know, for Emily in terms of the internal struggle. Right. Of like, what is revenge? This question of revenge, because we've never really questioned it. Now that Takeda, you know, who's been this mentor, now everything's flipped upside down. You know, it was one thing when, you know, if it was just Aiden and all these things, but to have your mentor gone and have your world shaken in that respect, you know, and just everything after everything. I mean, think of, you know, Anna, you mentioned it, where Emily was just so emotional. She didn't have time to think about anything tonight. You know, it was just one thing after the next, and then ultimately, you know, to Jack, where, you know, it's nothing but emotion. It's the man she loved since childhood.
I have a hard time, though, with that, because I thought they were going to kill off Aiden, and they didn't. And now you guys know I like Emily and Aiden together, but I think Emily and Jack should end up together. And I think a lot of the audience members have the same debate. So now that you guys are both still there, we feel torn. And we don't want to feel torn.
I'm back on Jack's team. After tonight's episode, I am.
The problem is there isn't another team. It's like
after I came into the studio, you had to look me in the eye.
No, it's like the Corey and Topanga symbol. I mean, like, you know, when you're in love with somebody since you're little, Boy Meets World reference really went over everybody's head, apparently.
No,
I got it.
in my head, but what?
You know, when two people are in love when they're little, and you just, like, want them to end up together because that's the way it's supposed to be. Like, little puppy love, little kid love. They're obviously supposed to be together, and that's the end game. That's what it's supposed to be. But when you see her with Aiden, you really do feel torn. When you see her with Daniel, you don't feel that sense of, uh-oh, I wish she was with Daniel. Nobody wants her to end up with Daniel.
I think it's a tribute to, I mean, both the writing but the portrayal of those characters and those scenes.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, again, you know, I cannot sing his praises enough. I think he's such a good actor, and Emily's brilliant always. But yeah, like there's such a chemistry. You know, that I think like that it speaks to that.
I agree, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're
I
good.
quickly just want to say I think that the main reason that we were all on Aiden's side so much was that because that was the only person she could be herself in front of.
He was in on it.
Right, and so now that she's admitted to Jack, hey, I'm the real Amanda Clark, I mean, we'll see where it goes from here, but great. Yeah, then by all means, then Jack is the one for you. And I think the debate's
Well, let me say
kind of
this.
over now.
I mean, what separates Aiden from Emily in the sense of, you know, Aiden withheld truth from Emily, right? And that's what she's ultimately upset about is, you know, as you said, he was supposed to be the guy that she could confide in. You know, Jack and Emily have, you know, have had a strong friendship. Obviously, it's been shaken up in the past couple of weeks. But the fact of, you know, now she's going to tell him the truth, that's just what Aiden did. You know, and she got upset at him for it. So what is to stop Jack from being like, well, F you. What the? You couldn't let me in on this? Really?
I suspect he would feel that way. Yeah.
Of course, you know your character better, but I don't think you're going to say to her, F you, like, goodbye. I don't think this is the end of their relationship by any means.
I mean, it certainly
maybe?
won't be, but...
It's not going to be the end, but he's going to have to cold shoulder her. They
Yeah.
can't just, like, fall in love right there.
Exactly.
I mean, where's
It's
that
gotta
season
be.
going to go?
Because there have been too many consequences for, like, you know, in his life for her actions. The you know, she tipped the first domino, and it's set up a series. You know, through that sort of series of events, he lost his wife. He, you know, and yeah, I mean, I think he's gonna feel like he said something to her after Amanda died, like when he was saying, like, so you knew, I can't believe you knew, and you let, you know, this and this happen, like you know you knew that I can't even remember the line.
Yeah, I mean, it was you know, it was again at that point it was still a partial truth. I mean, you know what I mean? She could have said something, you know, something then, but she didn't. Now the big question that we ask ourselves: you got away with the Carl being babysat by the grandmother. Why hasn't Jack known that was Amanda this whole time?
You know, it's funny. I'm a little conflicted by that you know, the line when she says, "Deep down, you've always known."
Yeah.
Because I've always said in interviews that he can't be on, like that it's just that he's, you know, that the conceit of the show is that he, and it makes him look a little dumb, but like that he doesn't put it together. He's
incapable of it. Like, no. I mean,
he's so stupid.
No. Like, it's so traumatic, and it's such a big thing that all these times, but he isn't capable of connecting those dots because it would blow up his entire world.
I mean, I can see but that speaks to he deep down he's always known, and so he lives in a denial of it. I've always thought that he just, you know, maybe so that I don't feel stupid. I've always felt like he just didn't. It was like no, because we get too close to solving the problem if he knows but is living in denial about it. Like I feel like he's just had to. He had a big thing for this girl, and he couldn't put his finger on why he felt such a connection to her. He couldn't put his finger on why he felt so drawn to her, and that was it. But then, yeah. So I don't know. I've always thought that it was just sort of that.
I feel like, yeah, that we were so close to that in season 1, and it was too close. And I think that's when we brought in the pregnancy. And so then he was just so caught up with, well, I'm, you know, having a baby now. And that's, so Emily just kind of had to be dismissed, really.
Why were we so close? Other than Sammy, which was our only real, like, clearly he loved her, and that was going on, and that was a big connection. Why would he have known?
Well, also, she was going to tell him.
Yeah, but she didn't. So why would, you know, how would he have put those pieces together? What other major signs were there?
I'm actually, you know what, as we discussed this, I'm agreeing with you guys more. I mean, whatever instincts there might have been of, like, this, again, she's going by a different name. And then
eventually, so many years later. I mean, granted, I'd probably, like, in real life, I'd probably recognize someone. But that's the conceit of this.
But she changed her hair color. She changed a lot of things physically about herself as well.
Right.
So you know what? I'm gonna go with you on this because then Amanda comes into the picture and she presents herself, you know, and reveals this truth to Jack, and so then he kind of goes on this journey, you know, with her.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously there's that lust for Emily, but you know, it's.
I'll say this. He looked really dumb when the foster brother came in and was like, "You're her." I was like, "Oh God!" The conceit of the show is that none of these people recognize her, you know, and this kid who has known her the longest doesn't.
How do you
But
justify
then-
that? How did the show justify that?
don't
Everybody
know.
else, no. It just,
I don't know. I don't know if it did. Like, you know, but it was a little frustrating for me because I was like, but that's been the whole thing, is that the only way I don't look stupid is if we don't have
Another character come in and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
it's you."
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
But whatever.
At least the Graysons are in the same boat. Like, if you look stupid, then they look stupid too, because they knew her.
Certainly Victoria,
Right.
because
Yeah.
you know she saw her every day. What was it like to film in like the exterior stuff of tonight's episode, or a lot of it? Did you guys film in New York, or where was that? A lot of
No,
it
I mean
shot?
that was in at the Universal lot, the New York street
The falling
part.
pieces,
Yeah, I don't know.
falling
Debris.
towers.
Yeah, but the tower, Grayson Global Tower, was all CG, which was kind of interesting to me. I mean, you know, I couldn't really tell. Like, I knew, of course, but because I was just having to fake some look to this giant structure. But you know, in the end, I couldn't really. I mean, it's a quick little thing, but I couldn't really tell.
Here's I will credit this tonight's episode. What I loved about it was the fact that they brought in the initiative, but they didn't bring it in. We kind of here were upset with it. Did get a little bit crazy for us in terms of keeping up with. Okay, what is the initiative? What is this? But they brought it back tonight, but they funneled it through Conrad, so at least we were able to understand it. We had a kind of goal and things like that, and so, which by the way, that was a huge reveal by Conrad.
Yeah, and it kind of confuses me, and I wonder how long the writers have known that for, or whether they just figured it out and put it in. Because if you go back and, like Victoria says, I killed somebody for this reason. You knew this whole time, and obviously the actor didn't know the whole time, the character didn't know, but I'm wondering if the creators did, because it's hard for me to believe there is no initiative. That's hard to swallow.
It's not hard to. I mean, there is an initiative, but at least now we have a main character from the show who's this, as opposed to this disembodied like company or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Well, it makes Conrad.
I guess
agree?
I know what you mean.
It
I
make-
can always tell when she's about to talk, because she.
Well, I
Let
just.
it go, so I try to
It's
let
just
her
like.
go, you know?
It just boils.
It's like a big thing. It makes Conrad so evil, if that's the case, because when he was talking about, his moment of silence for Declan, and Ashley says, well, you really don't miss a trick, do you? So he clearly okayed or arranged the death of Declan. I mean, that is some really evil stuff.
Well, he was trying to arrange my death.
Yeah.
Right, but Jack doesn't really mean anything to Conrad or to the Graysons, and Jack was trying to take down Grayson Global. So when it was Declan, I mean, he knows that Charlotte loves Declan. So, I mean, this is some really...
But he didn't know Declan was in the building.
Yeah.
He thought that Jack was in the building.
I
No,
understand.
but she's saying at the once Declan got in the hospital, he took out Declan.
is what
Is that
I'm
what you're
saying.
saying?
That's what I'm saying, Phil.
That's
Thank
what-
you.
He didn't take out Declan, though. Declan dies in the hospital.
Declan
Yeah.
dies, but what she's saying, she's taking it a step further and saying
That he was responsible for it.
Conrad is responsible. As soon as he got the news that Declan's in the hospital,
That's
take him
interesting.
out.
That's interesting. I mean, I don't know that that's what they intended, and I could be wrong, but that's an interesting idea.
I mean, if that's the truth, that is.
I think it is because of the line that Ashley said, well, you really don't miss a turn, do you? And that's because before she was supposed to stop Conrad from going on stage, and she said, they're ready for you. And that was the moment where...
That's what I had the bigger question about, was what changed her mind. I understood she heard what Conrad was saying, but she seems to legitimately care about you. And you say that she's one of the only people that you can trust. But, she gets the news then, she's told not to let Conrad go out. And finally she says, you know what, you're ready, you can go. I feel like that's more of a hit to you than it is to Conrad.
Well, I think it's because he okayed the death of Declan.
No,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it's supposed to be, but I understand what you mean, because if she was going to let me go down, she's going to let me go to prison. I understand what you mean. It's a little muddy, but I think what they intended is, you're such a piece of garbage
yeah, you deserve what's coming to you.
that I'm going to let, like, if he's willing to do this and go down and that's his plan and no one can stop him, I want to see you die. I want, you deserve it. You deserve it.
And they've become friends at this point, so I'm sure she would know that if, not only was it the bomb that was intended for Jack hit Declan, but now like he also has like stopped his heart surgery from going through, or you know.
I just think if she was a legitimate friend, she would never. If he could actually trust her, you're saying if she knew that nobody.
By the way,
could
that's
stop
assuming that Ashley is Jack's true friend.
That's what I'm
I
saying,
never
so I don't
trusted
think-
Ashley from the
Right.
get-go. Come on.
He does though, or Jack does. I don't.
All right.
You know who I don't trust? Padma. Can we talk about her for a brief
Well, I
second?
want to talk.
Okay.
Amen.
We'll talk about Panama. But
Amen,
you know,
girl.
you spoke that Henry is an amazing actor. Tonight, he had the best speeches, and you
Yeah.
know, in terms of Declan, that was. I mean, you know, as him and Ashley are talking, I was like, okay, that is low. But then as he's delivering the speech, my wife is consoling Charlotte and all that. I was like, that was a good speech.
Politician.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
He was brilliant in that moment with. The dialogue was brilliant. I mean, his portrayal was great. But the dialogue they gave him for his fight with Victoria, when he was telling, you know, when you come to, it ends with him saying something about when you come to your feeble senses or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so like it's just awful. It was just so dark and so stabbing. I thought it was brilliant.
The reason I always thought that Victoria was the more evil one is because I always thought she was more intelligent. And now I'm seeing that Conrad is brilliant, and that makes him more evil. The smarter you are, the more you're aware you're doing crappy things, the worse of a human being you are.
See,
You know?
I didn't trust Conrad because he always goes into whisper fights, as Nick calls it. Whoever wins the whisper fight is more evil.
For whatever it's worth, I don't call his acting whisper fight. I just it was the show. It was I had a thing where I was saying that I think our show is a little bit of a whisper fight.
I agree.
Yeah.
But all right, let's talk about Padma because you really want to talk about Padma, and she's boiling over here.
I don't.
Ready to burst.
Am I boiling over?
You're like, you want to talk about Padma. Let's
All
talk
right, I'm
about
just so excited about the show. So where do we stand on this? She said that she is. So first, Nolan was arrested
Yes,
for acts of terror against the U.S. government.
correct.
Okay.
I mean, carry on. I mean, I could see someone getting arrested for that.
Yeah, I mean,
He blacked out the entire New York, all 5 boroughs. Yeah, I think so.
all 5. Yeah, so then we see video where she's saying that she was ashamed to say that she was involved with Nolan and
She calls him an anarchist. That was my favorite line.
an anarchist, and he was a blind follower of David Clark. So, and then, Roxy, you made a point that
The question is, if she knew they were going to kill her anyway, why would she tape this? Why would she film this? The guy we see, and because we forgot, obviously it was so long ago, when they say scenes from the next week, from previous weeks, like what happened, whatever, we see that somebody walks in and says, we need one more thing from you. So she obviously knows she's about to die. So why would she do this? Because she didn't want to get tortured, or because this was her plan all along to expose Nolan? I just didn't understand what motive she would have to completely out him like this.
I think that it was intended to be. I think she was supposed to be trustworthy, and that she, you know.
To Nolan?
Yeah, and actually cared for him, and thought that perhaps foolishly it was, you know, a last ditch effort to like maybe if I do the thing they're telling me to do, I will be spared or something. It's just sort of denying what is, you know, most likely, and then just, of course, they killed her anyway. So, but you know, her final words were denouncing her love and this innocent man. I think.
You thought that she was a backstabber the whole time, and you don't.
I never
believe-
trusted her.
Should have gone
I
with
never
our
trusted
boy
him.
EJ.
Yeah.
AKA,
Yeah.
Shoot, he's been here so many times I forget his actual character name. Anyway, EJ.
You're talking about Nolan's other lover.
Yes.
Oh, that guy.
The former CFO.
Right.
Shoot, what was his name?
Well, I'll think of it as we
All
go.
right, fair enough.
I can't remember either.
Here's, you know, I have
Marco.
like Marco, that's it.
Polo.
Nice.
I have so many
Nice
questions for the next season, but here's for me, and this stems from this now, with obviously the act of terror and Nolan kind of going to prison for everything that's happened, and the fact that they're bringing up David Clark. I think you know, for season 3, it's going to now be, okay, the fight for Emily is going to be save David Clark's name. You know what I mean? Because he's already a terrorist. And now to add to that, you know, and have that resurface in a negative way again for him, that's going to be the ultimate battle. And also, you know, what's going to be interesting, if Nolan goes to prison, which he probably will, you know, now you don't have, now you've basically lost Emily, all of kind of Emily's allies.
I wouldn't say he probably will. I mean, and if he
will or doesn't?
No, if he does go to prison, it won't be for very long. He's not going to be there all season. But maybe he goes. No, I definitely don't think Nolan's going to be locked up for all season. I think her bigger issue with saving her father's name is going to be the fact that Charlotte is carrying her niece or nephew. And that's a huge part of her legacy, you know, this poor baby coming into the world. And how do you live out the Clark name? And when do you expose yourself? I think that's the bigger thing.
It's true. I also think, where do you guys think, Dan, where is he in this whole picture? No, because he's trying to call her. He's trying
I love the Dan.
Yeah.
Why? Oh, I can't call him Dan? What's wrong with Dan?
Call him whatever you want. It's hysterical.
I've called him Dan for how many? 20? No, what is it? I can't do math. How many episodes have we done?
I don't know. 2 seasons worth.
40, yeah, 40 something.
Yeah, there you go. 44. 44 episodes I've done, and I've called him Dan, and now everyone has a problem with it.
It's because I'm here and I'm questioning it.
So what happens to Daniel Grayson?
I don't know. I mean, we've had issues with the whole season because we don't think he's bad in terms of Victoria Conrad bad, but he's still not all good. I don't want to see him just be caught in the fire here, but it's probably what's going to happen.
But the thing is, deep down, Daniel's not a bad guy. Remember, he used to be a poet, and really, he just kind of got corrupted at the end of last season. And
poets are horrible people.
I mean, listen, you will not ever catch me at a poetry reading. That will never happen. But he's not Conrad, you know, and that's why you just kind of feel bad for Daniel. It's like, you know, he's not the worst guy in America, and he obviously really loves Emily. You just kind of feel bad for him.
Does he? Does he really love Emily?
Yes.
When you say he obviously really loves Emily.
He does.
I think he does. I mean,
Yeah.
right?
I think he likes her a lot. I just don't
I would
think
love
he
to get the
understands-
answer from Victoria, because it's so interesting how they brought in where Victoria says, you know, you don't love him, and she keeps pointing that out to Emily, and obviously that's a great observation because she doesn't.
But she never says he doesn't love you.
That's what I want to know from her.
Well,
I think the biggest
Victoria's
threat is that I think she knows her son is in love with her, but she's just, you know, sort of similar, you know, in the way that Jack doesn't know, and like Jack has some feeling about this girl but can't put his finger on why he's so drawn to her. She can't put her finger on why she's so, you know, she gets a bad feeling about her.
Why is everyone so drawn to Emily? She's just that girl that everybody loves. And when I was saying before about Daniel liking her, I just mean he's clearly infatuated with her. I just think it could have been somebody else. It didn't have to be Emily. I feel for Jack, it is Emily. She's the one. I don't feel like that for Daniel. I feel like Daniel looks at her, he loves her. It could maybe be one of the people that he could end up with. But it's not, you don't look at him and say, that's his one person.
So he's gonna end up with Ashley?
I don't know, maybe. No, I don't know.
also, I have a question mark about whether Daniel was shot in the stomach. Because, you know, he had that fight with Aiden, and he showed up bleeding, but there was this gun in the scene when he and Aiden were fighting.
And then they cut away. You see Daniel look at the gun while Aiden has him down on the ground.
Right.
And then they cut. And the next thing you see is him asking for a shirt from Conrad, and he's holding his stomach, and there's blood on the shirt.
Right.
I don't think he was shot. I don't think that's what happened, but it was weird editing-wise that you thought
Interesting.
that.
I didn't realize, and I actually don't remember. I honestly don't remember. But if he was supposed to be holding his stomach, or if it was just that his hand was down there, and it was supposed to be that we see that he has blood on his sleeve.
Right, that's what I think it was.
I think the blood was more the point than the stomach, I think.
But why did they have the gun there? I'm not sure.
And I thought, actually, that
Well, it's to make us wonder if he...
Right.
I mean, yeah, what's the story behind Aiden? Is he dead or alive? At this point, we don't know.
Well, I thought actually that a shot was going to go off, that Emily was going to intercept it, but the gun was going to be shot, and then Daniel was going to have this bullet wound.
Well, you thought wrong.
I did think wrong. But I'm glad that that wasn't the case, because then we would have Nolan in prison, we have Jack in prison, you know, that's just a disaster that we don't want to deal with.
What about Patrick, guys? Just showing up there. We just get the deep voice. Hello, Victoria.
His voice better still be like that.
I was.
And it won't be. Yeah, it
Yeah.
absolutely
No,
won't
you're
be. But that's fine. We'll live with it. In the same way that we'll live with grandma's taking care.
Yeah,
you know?
and Takeda being totally different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's fine. Let's
Are
just
you with me? Did you watch Mortal Kombat as a kid?
Yeah. Well,
Are you talking
I
about
mean,
the video game?
No, the movie.
It's a movie.
Oh, I used to play
Here's
that
the
video game.
problem.
Yeah.
I knew he was getting evil, obviously, on the show, and so it might be great casting. But for me, I never really believed in Takeda in season 2, only because he's the evil character in Mortal Kombat, and so I can never take him seriously after that. Not his fault, just
Yeah.
my obsession with Mortal Kombat.
your fault. Yeah.
Anyway, that's totally random.
It's perfect.
Is Aiden dead?
No.
No.
Because we know that he signed on for next season. So, no. Unless he comes back in all flashbacks.
To be the world's shittiest person, it could be flashbacks.
Right.
I don't think so. I think if Aiden was going to die, Takeda they would have killed each other somehow. There could have been so many other ways. And you're saying is Aiden dead, as in did Daniel kill him?
Yes.
Yeah, just
He's not capable.
Just
Daniel-
didn't happen.
I think I agree with you guys because the point is to have Daniel stay kind of in, you know, on the border of is he good, is he bad, you know, and if he killed Aiden, then he would be considered a bad guy by many, at least from the fans' perspective.
Right, but maybe that's what they want. There are too many good guys right now. There's too many boys that we like.
Yeah.
Some of them got turned. No, seriously, all three of you guys. You know, there's qualities
Yeah.
in each of you that's like.
Maybe we all go after Conrad. What's wrong with that?
I mean, it's interesting that, you know, like I've been rooting for it for a long time, for them to take Jack down a dark road, because I always thought that you can't be that naive for that long and still have the audience on your side.
Do you think that part of the reason you want to do that is as a challenge for you as an actor?
Absolutely. I mean, it's more, you know, the more dynamic your character, the more fun. So yeah, that was definitely part of it. But it's like, you know, he was held in one place for long enough. I'll say this to the credit of Mike Kelly and the writers. Even as I was like, oh, I want to play something different, I think it ended up being the right decision to wait as long as they did, because now I think you earn the audience. Like, now the audience is, I think, on his side. If you had him turn earlier, you know, I think the audience would be like, well, now everyone on this show is kind of, you know, bad or you know, whatever. Just everyone's on a dark path. But so yeah, I think it's kind of smart that they waited as long as they did, as frustrating as it can be sometimes to be, you know, in that holding pattern.
I think for me at least, I agree with you 100%, because, you know, we throughout the season have been frustrated with certain little things, but, you know, all things came together in all the right ways in this. I mean, this was an amazing finale. It really was. There's no other way to describe it.
I really sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I've been bummed about a lot of finales recently, and this one just kicked butt. So overall, like you just said, it was amazing. It was exciting.
I am right here, so we can't trust a word
If
she
he wasn't
says.
here, I would say it totally sucked. No, honestly, we've had guests on before, and I've said that the show wasn't particularly great. So I would say it in front of you to be as blunt as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, Roxy doesn't lie.
I don't.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what you got to learn about
I mean,
Roxy.
for whatever it's worth, I loved it. I was like, Jesus, like, you know, one of my notes was like, best episode, one of the best eps, amazing ending, like, just, you
It's
know.
hard to read his writing, so he's a little confused with what he's writing.
Yeah,
So.
I'm actually just making that up. I don't think that's what it says. But yeah, I really think it's like one of our strongest episodes ever.
Could I get your take on the one thing that I didn't like?
Yeah.
The Regina storyline. What was this lesbian experience for Charlotte? Did we have to, like, you know, granted it moves some
You
things
didn't
along.
like it? It's all you talk about.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I talked about the kiss.
we
I didn't-
had an entire episode about the makeout, and that you mentioned like 7 times.
Yeah, but I didn't necessarily need a storyline.
Right.
And for those of you who are just listening and not watching, we have Nick here like motioning the scissors with his hands. So that's yeah.
Yeah, so go online and watch that. That'll really get you off. Just my hands gesturing.
Or just download it to your phone like Regina does.
I mean, again, it was just a little bit strange.
Pocket porn.
Pocket porn.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I think who knows? Maybe they're trying to set something up for next season. I mean, I it might have just been a thing to sort of create some diversion for Declan.
Yeah.
To go.
I think also that that it related to Declan, and Declan has always been such a safe place for Charlotte, safe and stable, and I think it just really like reaffirmed how much Charlotte loves him. So if nothing else, it was a delivery for that.
Yeah.
I just feel like there are other ways that could have been done, but if it is setting something up, absolutely. And I actually like the actress that plays Regina, so she's great. Yeah, she's doing a great job with it. But it is kind of like, well, what's the point of adding a character in so late in the season that
maybe to drive the male demo up for the show? Hey, did you see that lesbian scene last week on Revenge?
Did you see them scissoring?
Is that what happened? I missed that part.
Oh, I gotta start watching Revenge.
No, it was cut.
It was a late cut, yeah.
It was cut, yeah.
We need more females in this room right now, Jesus. Men.
Why, we're 2 and 2.
Yeah.
We're 3 and 3. We're represented right here, Marissa. We're equally represented here. Gosh, I'm trying to think of what else. What do you guys want to talk about in terms of particular moments that absolutely stood out to you that we haven't discussed yet in tonight's episode?
Specific moments that happened in the finale,
yeah, that you enjoyed, or whatever the word may be.
I enjoyed how long it took Aiden to flee the country, and then he ended up not leaving. It is the most ridiculous.
Yeah, I wonder what and they stopped in Canada.
Yeah, but he was packing the same duffel bag for like 45 minutes. It was absurd.
So by enjoyed, you mean you were curious about?
Here's the thing.
I was very amused.
If you think 45 minutes is a long time, there's a lot of girls who pack for way longer than that.
Yeah, but they're probably not fleeing the country in hopes of.
Yeah, but he was never. But here's the thing: he was never really trying.
Terrorism.
He was never really trying to flee the country.
Well, he ended up not fleeing, and he was arrested.
Well, he was trying to stay the whole time. So I don't know. I think you're wrong, Anna.
I'm moving on from your favorite moment. One of my favorite moments was when Nolan told Aiden about Jack. And you see, and he didn't know that he said she did it once, she can do it again. And Aiden was just like, it did not hit him at all. I feel like there were a lot of moments this episode where really smart people, Emily, Aiden, are so wrong about things.
And you promised to explain that to me because I was confused.
What, the Japan thing?
Yes, I was confused a couple of times about why Emily went to Japan because of Jack somehow.
Well, because at that point, she was so emotionally charged. This was after the season finale of season 1. That seeing Amanda with the baby, she just couldn't be around Jack, and so, and also at that point, what she understood was, okay, I got to let Jack have a life with Amanda, and so I'll leave, and you know what, right now I'm not stable enough to be doing my revenge, and so I have to realign myself properly, which she did. She went to Japan. Went with Takeda and, refocused.
Yeah. And that's where she was training at the beginning of the season?
Correct.
Okay.
Can I talk about another favorite moment?
Sure.
Please, can I have your permission to? No, okay. So when Victoria and Emily were talking, and Victoria says, "Do not forget, I've been at this much longer than you," and I don't know, that line to me was crazy. And Emily's response, "How sad for you, Victoria, that of your 3 children, the 2 that you decide to acknowledge want nothing to do with you." They're both just like we were talking about when you fight with your words, and I just see them like clawing at each other, but they don't. It's all.
I think it's brilliant too, the way they both play like. They never play the line. Mm-hmm. Like it's always playing against. It's like said with a smile or something.
Yeah, when it says how sad, it's the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's great.
One of my favorite moments in this one was when Aiden, when Emily found out that Aiden killed Takeda. I thought I just the way that played out, and when she threw him to the ground, and
she sees his wrist and she knows 'cause
Yeah.
it's bloody.
Yeah, I just thought the way it was played was
Yeah, that was a
great.
Good scene.
What was your favorite moment to be a part of in the finale?
To be a part of.
Hard question, so many.
I liked. I mean, it ended up cutting a lot faster than, of course, it took a lot more time to shoot it. But the scene between me and Victoria when I pull the gun on her, I'm about to shoot her, and then I'm like, no, I'm gonna let you live, and you're gonna live a long, torturous life. That one, and I think the scene at the end with Emily. I mean, it's just because it's so momentous for the audience.
So both times when you're holding the gun.
Yeah, so I was.
Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, but not even because of the gun.
What was in the file that Victoria hid? Do we know?
The one on him or the one on?
Yeah.
I don't think we know. I think it's just the fact that she had that Conrad had a file.
Yeah. And that she's protecting him at that point. Yeah, I get that.
In the hospital waiting room, Charlotte says to Emily, I need to tell you something. And then we never get to that. Is it just that she's pregnant? Or
Yeah. Yeah, I think we just assume that it's that she's pregnant.
Okay.
Does anybody else have?
I assume the same thing.
Okay.
Well,
Fair question, though.
Fair
Right.
question. I think that,
Okay.
not that we've answered all the questions, but I think that kind of wraps up the actual episode. So, Nick, how did you first hear about Revenge? How did you get involved with this show?
Well, I was I had auditioned previously for Mike Kelly's for his last pilot. It was called The Quintuplets, and Sam
Clearly
Witwer.
this did better.
Yeah, it didn't go, but Sam Witwer, who's my best friend, who's been here before.
Yeah.
He's on our wall.
Yeah.
Being Human, yeah, check that show out.
Yeah, it's a great show, and he's very good on it. Everybody's great on that show. But he got, like, we auditioned to play brothers on it. We screen tested, not together, but like, and actually we just independent of one another got it. They didn't know going into the screen test that we were best friends, and they found it after. But I got really close to getting one of the roles on that, and then I came in again. But the casting people kept me in mind for other things, and brought me in, and were kind of trying to find something for me. And then and they're great, like lovely people, and very good at what they do. And it was very. I was honored to have them keep me in mind. And then they brought me in for that, and I actually didn't know it was a Mike Kelly for Revenge. I didn't know it was a Mike Kelly thing until the callback, and I like right before I went in, I saw his name on the sheet and was like, what? Oh, well, that'll be good.
Speaking of Mike Kelly, how do you feel about the fact, he's still going to be EP on it, but that he's not showrunner anymore? Does it make you nervous? Excited?
It doesn't make me nervous. I'm bummed. The guy took a big chance on me. He changed my life basically. I was crying on the floor of my apartment, just polishing my gun for so long that
Me too.
I'm lying, but it was, I had a dry spell, a long dry spell, and he and others, casting and others like Marty Wick took a chance on me, and that meant a great deal to me. So I don't want to lose that, that support, and but if it's better for him in certain ways, if it frees him up to do, I knew on the pilot that he had other things he wanted to do, So maybe it'll be better in certain ways. Just for him, he got to be a great leader on this for a long time, and I don't know. I personally am bummed to lose him.
You talk about your dry spell, and I know, so Roswell wrapped up in 2002, correct?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think it was, I think it was 2002, around
I think
then.
you might be right.
So what do you, between then and now, you've done a bunch of other roles, but you never were on a series like you were then or you are now.
Right.
So what was going on in that time? You were just crazy auditioning, or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it never felt that crazy. It felt, I don't know, like the momentum. I lost the momentum. I was there's some things I could have taken. I was never the guy that you offered the role to. Like, if you're the lead on Roswell, if you're one of the leads, maybe even one of the first 4 people on the call sheet, you might get some offers coming your way. For the most part, it'll just get you in the door for some things, but you might get some offers. I never really got any. I was low enough on the totem pole that it would get me in some doors, but I was never really the one they noticed. And I still had to kind of, work for it a lot, and I was a little picky, and I don't know. Again, I was never the one that anyone was really excited about. So
Until this, and then he took a chance on
that's what I'm saying.
No, everybody's excited about you.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
don't
here's
know.
what I'll say. I mean, whatever happens, I think us fans, as you can tell, we love Jack, and so I think, at the very least, you have that going for you. You know what I mean? The fans would be outraged if, something were to happen to Jack.
Yeah. I mean, it's been amazing to have that this came along.
Do you follow what the fans are saying? Well, I guess you answered that earlier, so that's no, right?
Probably. I mean, basically, I don't look myself up or the show, or I don't want to know good or bad what anyone's saying, because I don't want to.
It's good. They're saying good things.
They are.
They are.
So what do you have going on now? You're working on the show. Any other projects you're working on? Just the show?
Yeah, this beard, this wannabe beard that will never be a beard.
It's a project within itself.
Yeah.
I'm trying to grow one out too.
Yeah.
How's it coming in?
It's good. It's good. You can't see it at home, but it's
Really filling out here.
Oh my goodness.
So I noticed I was just obsessively watching you as we were. But
good start. Keep going.
But this can't go anywhere but good. But you do some drawing, some sketching. Is that?
Oh God, no! This is ridiculous. No, it's just a
and
ball.
Then,
I
and
drew
then
a ball.
Then your buddy over here was saying that should you ever write a book, it might be filled with blank
Yeah,
pages
it's blank
and
pages
sketches.
Yeah. I can't read, which is why my notes. That explains my notes.
And why you have trouble remembering lines because you can't read.
How is the process for you, to get ready for a show like Revenge? I mean, even for us, it's very difficult to follow the storyline. So how do you prepare? Let's say now. I mean, I know perhaps the process has changed from season 1 to now season 2.
Well, I mean, it hasn't changed that much for me. I mean, it's gotten more. Well, maybe there is a little bit of a change. I think you might be right, but it's that there's.
I know you. I know what's up.
That there's as it's gotten more complex, I've had to not concern myself with I can't answer questions about anyone else's storyline. I don't know. I get to read it all the way through, if I'm lucky, twice. And then I
read the episode.
Yeah. And so, it's I get this when I see it, I'm like, oh, right. And it's actually kind of great because I've forgotten. So I've forgotten how it plays out. I've forgotten all the twists and stuff for everyone else. So I'm actually kind of drawn into it. But for me, it's I just have to kind of ignore everything but my stuff, which sounds awful, but it's because it's episodic television and we move quick, and I have trouble memorizing. So I work for hours and hours and hours on each scene just to memorize.
Do you watch the episodes after the fact to kind of refresh your memory and kind of get reacquainted with the material?
Not as much as I should, which is part of the reason I'm a publicist nightmare.
On top of that, I was wondering if you watch specifically yourself, even just to see if it can improve your skills, or do you feel like watching yourself makes you self-conscious?
Well, it does both, but interestingly, I found it useful to watch myself because I don't like myself as an actor, and I on the day always feel terrible. I'm like, I need to quit, and then I see it, and while I still feel really insecure about it, I feel like almost without fail, I think it comes off better than it felt.
So then it's important to watch so you are reassured that you don't look the way you feel.
Yeah, like it actually sometimes gives me a little boost, like, you know, oh, I suck, but not as bad as I thought.
I feel really sad right now.
Yeah, I know.
Because we're such big fans, I can't even picture you thinking that you suck. Like
were you supported in your dream to act as a young man?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. I don't know. Look, I don't know where it comes from. It's just me.
I did a little stalking, and you have 7 brothers. Did I
Maybe
get that
that's
right?
where it came from. Yeah.
Are you youngest, oldest, middleest? Somewhere in between us?
I'm the middleest. I'm the fifth. The fifth of 8 boys. Sorry, it's because my parents had 4 sons and then split and got back together a number of years later and had another set of 4. So I'm the oldest of the second set.
And are they in this business as well, or living out here? Or you're out here solo?
I'm out here solo. My youngest brother thought about doing it for a little while, and then I don't know what happened. He thought better somehow.
Did you give him advice not to do it?
No, actually.
Steer clear.
Though if it got serious enough with him, I might have not tried to steer him away from it, but just like warned him how, like, that actually, you know, that is probably the thing that has made me the most insecure. The lean years, you know, the years between Roswell and now.
Mm-hmm.
I'd always been kind of naive about, I don't know, like whatever praise I got kind of fell into my lap, and so I never had to really like work that hard for it. And then I you know, was off Roswell and had a long period of nothing, or at least, you know, just guest spots, and it wasn't enough to, I don't know, you couldn't put it in the bank, in the emotional bank.
So how do you motivate yourself if you know this is what you want to do with your life, but you're not booking the way you want to? You know, like what do you do? Well,
if you're me, you lose motivation. I kept doing it, but with my, I actually think this is a metaphor for what it's like to work on episodic television sometimes as well, but it's like I was just plowing down a road that, you know, like I was on a bridge that was being built as actually that's the analogy for working on TV. Being on a bridge that's being built, like driving on a bridge that's being
While
built.
you're driving.
Yeah, but this was more like I was going down a road that I knew it was that I was heading towards a cliff, and I just wasn't stopping. What I mean by that is my finances were finite, and I was still getting residual checks and stuff, but it was like, you know, it's terrifying. But I was like, I kind of don't know what else to do. You know, this is what I want to do. And yeah, I just kind of.
What's your sort of perfect role? Like, hopefully, seasons down the line, once Revenge wraps up, let's say season 9.
10 years from now.
10 years from now, of course. What are some roles that you would like to play? Or, you know, in the hiatus, I know a lot of actors in the summertime, you know, shoot movies or other projects. Like, what's something that you would love to be a part of? You know, just even, you know, is it sci-fi? Is it comedy? Is it more drama?
I think you wouldn't know this to speak to me now, but I would love to be.
Revenge loses its
What do we got, Marissa? What do you do on news and gossip already?
Oh.
Breaking news. Now I want to know what that's
You
all
want to do it?
No.
No.
God,
Okay.
no, we'll get there.
I would like to do comedy. That was sort of what led me to acting.
Comedy?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like.
What kind of comedy? I mean, there's tons of comedies. Is it like slapstick? Is it?
Honestly, it's something like It's Always Sunny. I just, and I'm actually, kind of friendly with, well, I was going to say kind of friendly with those guys, but I don't actually know the others very well. I know one of them pretty well, and he's a good friend of mine, so I'm not just kissing his ass here. I think that show is brilliant. I think those guys are amazing, and I think it's like, it rings truer to me than like Friends, as much as brilliant as I think Friends is. It's and I really do. I think it's like legitimately
It's feel
brilliant
good.
drama. Yeah, like everyone's beautiful. Everyone's incredibly witty. Everyone, like everyone's got a great job, a great apartment, and all this. And there's something sort of perfect about the comedy, even. But It's Always Sunny has this dark, twisted. I don't know. It's a
Real life comedy.
yeah. It's gleeful, and it's like how unredeeming these characters are.
Okay, also, I just want to know, other than memorizing, once you book something, is there anything that's particularly difficult for you? Like we were talking about emotionally getting somewhere, or interacting with characters, or if you're filming a scene and somebody's not there. Is there anything else other than learning your lines that you struggle with?
Well, I mean, learning them is one of the biggest problems for me. But and I don't know why that is. I got to change something about the way I learn my lines. But I think part of it is that I do all of it alone, like almost all of it, every time.
As opposed to, what do you mean?
Working with a partner or something, like working with a scene partner to, it's. I don't know. Maybe that's because I've been doing, I had those lean years for so long, and I just, it was a private exercise always, for like 10 years. I never studied with anyone else or anything, but I don't know. Anyway, question again.
If there was anything else that was particularly difficult.
I don't know. I mean, it's weird. I used to find getting to it, like an emotional place was very hard for me, and now it's like one of the only things that I have, like when I do it and I'm able to do it, and I'm not saying that it is. I think it's kind of an actor's trick. Like if you can get, tears to come, then that's like. It's almost like cheating sometimes. It makes an actor feel like they're really acting their ass off, but it doesn't always. It's not always the most interesting way to play it or whatever. But it's become one of the only things that I have like some confidence in, not just getting tears, but being able to get myself emotional, and actually, because it's the closest I've come to because when I get myself there. I can sort of through listening to music and sort of working myself up, I'll get myself there, and then I actually putting myself in the shoes of the character is what will keep me there. And that's the closest I've been. I get to like living.
Feeling good?
Yeah, well, and to like not pretending, like because. Everything else, I'm always second guessing myself. But when I can get emotional and just kind of respond to the situation, that's I don't know. That's the purest experience I've had with it.
Well, speaking of pure, you want to give us your pure predictions for season 3? Because
amazing.
Such
I know,
a good
greatest-
transition. So good.
I was working that all night. I was like, I hope Nick.
You've had better. Had better transition.
Well, but you don't know what's gonna go on season 3, just like us. So
yeah.
Anything that you predict is just that. It is a prediction. So what would you like to see in season 3?
I would like to see something different. I'd like to see I mean, well, I mean something different. I'd like to see Jack go after Conrad even more. I would like to see a bit more of this dark path before we take him, you know.
Well, here's what I think for me, in terms of my prediction, I think now you have to, now it's a dynamic duo of Emily and Jack. You know, I mean, you can't now go back with that knowledge, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so, but then again, as we kind of were talking a little bit earlier, does he resent Emily for, you know, this truth or whatever? But
She can't just say like JK, LOL.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
She can text
She
him
doesn't
that,
talk like that, yeah.
Just kidding. No, we definitely can't turn back from that. You guys are thinking that he's going to be upset and maybe that will run out the course of the season. And finally, at the end of season 3, we'll see you guys together or something. I kind of hope for that. But I also hope that Nolan finds somebody and that somebody lasts a little longer than a couple episodes.
I would like to see Daniel find out that she's the real Amanda Clark and still side with her and turn against the Graysons.
Interesting. I like
But then
that.
you're going to like Daniel.
I
Too
like
late.
Daniel. I don't
She does
dislike
like
it.
Daniel.
Yeah, I don't think that he's the one for her, but I do like Daniel.
I think for me, what I would love to see happen is, you know, the premiere. I would like to see a little bit closer of an examination of, you know, because right now we're in the midst of everything. Conrad's in the midst of his speech. Victoria's back home. Charlotte doesn't necessarily know the truth, and so in that particular episode, I would like to spend a little bit of time examining all these different things, right? Nolan, what's going to happen to him, and so I don't want us to just kind of breeze over all those things to move plot forward. We can do that in later episodes, but I want to slow it down a bit. I don't know. That's just a wish, not a prediction.
The wish list of AfterBuzz. That's good.
I know. Nick, you better bring it back to whoever's running
I'll
the
show
show
them
this
this.
time.
Yeah. I'll send them
Can I
a-
write this down for you?
Anything else that you guys would like to talk about? No?
Good.
All right. Well, fans, thank you so much for joining us for 22 episodes of season 2.
Yeah, thank you. Jesus.
It's been quite a ride, but I can't believe it's over. I don't want to say it's over. I'm trying to prolong. Marissa's gonna stab me, by the way, because I've prolonged this finale for so long. But I don't want to say it. I don't want to say this is it for season 2. But it is.
Yeah.
In the meantime, however, where can our fans interact with you guys off air? Nick, where can they find you?
I mean, you know, you're gonna have to run into me in my neighborhood because I don't have Twitter or anything.
No
So we've been-
Instagram, no Twitter.
No, I'm not a 13-year-old girl.
How about Roxy will manage your
Apparently,
Twitter?
I'm a 13-year-old girl because I have Instagram and Twitter.
I know. I'm sorry, but
yeah.
no, I'm just like I said, I'm a publicist nightmare, so you can't get a hold of me anywhere.
Anyway, you can find me at Roxy Striar.
You can follow me at Koppel for Mayor.
And you can follow us here at AfterBuzz TV. Thank you so much to all the fans that have written on comments on YouTube, iTunes, and email over. Feel free to do that. Info at AfterBuzz TV. Thank you guys for a wonderful season. We'll see you season 3.
Thanks.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.